You mentioned another process that I know that many people are not familiar with. Mm-hmm. And I've dealt with a lot of people, especially in the arena of subprime auto financing, mm-hmm. who get all upset when they find out, oh, look, Jim, look at my statement. I just bought the car 6 months ago, and all this money is being applied to interest and not to the principal. That must be a scam. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the same thing. It's not a scam, is it? It's a big, long $30 word that sometimes financial people use called amortization.
Right. It's not that, when you buy a home, for example, nowadays, like if you buy a home at 60-year low rates, which means that it's really, when Eisenhower was president, at a 3% or a 4%, it's just ridiculous because it is so very low. So you're, essentially, when you have a $300,000 or a $400,000 mortgage or even a $150,000 mortgage, it is amortized over 30 years. And so the first 7 years will go into interest, not into principal. That's not a bad thing. The good thing about home ownership, as we mentioned before, also is that it's net worth. I mean, the top 1% of the wealthiest people, Jim, are, they don't leave equity in their home. They invest that money because money never sleeps. You reinvest it in the market. You invest it in your retirement funds. 63% of middle-class folks out there are leaving it in their homes when they should be taking it out and reinvesting it because mortgages it's good debt. It's not negative, and you can easily go into a 15-year term or a 10-year term and take equity out and invest it as well. So when you're looking at rates that we have right now, this is not going to happen again. We can really take advantage of not only getting into a 30-year rate, not worry about the fact that, okay, well, first 7 years it's only interest payments. Be happy about the fact that you're going to be paying so much less than what most folks would have been paying 7 years ago, 10 years ago, and only 60 years ago did we ever have rates like this.
Now, that interest is tax deductible, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So if you combine that with maybe charitable donations to your church, that's a pretty good chunk of change there.
It is, and it's so important what you've also said, to give back, to be of service, to give to the church, to be a part of the community. Essentially, this morning I was in the studios on air with Pat Ryan, who's on the air with me in Salem, Boston, and I really think that success in itself as a word and, making dreams happen are really about being financially stable and making dreams happen, not being successful in the sense that being a multimillionaire or billionaire, but being able to change lives, being able to be of service, and certainly being able to provide for your family and spend less time at work and work smart. So essentially, working smart really is looking at that mortgage statement and saying, am I simply paying $400 more because I'm on auto pay and my rate is too high? And that's what we do. We simplify, we reduce the rate. We'll save you so much more money that you don't have to work, the extra 20 hours or that second job or that third job. Let's just work smart.
Sarah, one quick question here before we take our break, and let's just hold on this break for a second. What is the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified?
Well, you get a pre-approval letter, which basically states that you are approved for that loan. And as you go through the process, you do get qualified for the loan based on the documentation that's provided. And it's really important, Jim, and I'm glad you brought this up on pre-approvals as well. During the pre-qualification process, you also need to disclose as much information as possible, because if there are losses to a business or maybe you lost a home, it's important to disclose that to the financial institution because it changes the dynamics of the loan and the approval process. So a pre-approval is simply to pre-approve you. It doesn't finalize it until all the paperwork is submitted.
So if you were to go out and look for a home and you are already pre-approved, that's just as good as cash.
Right, it is.
Go ahead.
Good. Well, the pre-approval will definitely give you the paper that you need to go with the agent if you're working with a realtor to state how much you qualify for, the loan amount based on income. So when you're actually looking for homes, you are in a position to at least look in that price range versus randomly looking at maybe homes that are a little too low or too high. for the income that you are making.
Right, as opposed to somebody who may be pre-qualified, you have bigger, you have a bigger club, so to speak.
Right, and
go ahead.
And one of the nice things is that we also have great real estate agents on the ground, so they will take the time out and show you the properties that you wish to look at, the neighborhoods that you're interested in.
All right, time for a break. On 1520 WBZW, we'll be back with our final segment with Sarah Mosen after this.